Welcome back to the MrShowTym podcast. In this video, I'm going to be discussing 5 things that would need to happen in order for the Matrix to be reset or restarted or defeated, right? 5 things that would need to happen in order for us to see normal again, right? And these 5 elements, I credit them to Coach Greg Adams from the Free Agent Lifestyle channel. He wrote these elements in his book, De-Evolution. It's somewhere on the screen right here, right? So without further ado, let's dive into it. Number one, the first thing that would need to happen in order for the Matrix to be reset is an economic collapse of epic proportions, right? The Biden administration is busy doing that right now with all these expenditures and these stimulus checks being put in these ridiculous endeavors and in these campaigns, such as the border campaign and funding all these ridiculous things, brainwashing kids in schools and gender reaffirming young kids. All these things are leading towards an epic economic crash of the United States, South Africa, and other westernized nations as well. So that's the first element. Second element is World War III. Yeah. You see, it's only in first world countries that people tend to, think the world is sunshine and rainbows and fluffy. People tend to live with wishful thinking. But in third world countries, people don't talk about feminism and equality and all the genders are equal because reality applies. Now, if a World War III were to spark, people would immediately retreat to reality. You'd see women stop complaining, claiming that they're strong and independent, and all that wishful thinking would fly right out the window, and they'll retreat back into the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. You wouldn't hear women talking about, I'm strong, no. Because they know that they can't handle it. Being drafted into the military, nah. So all these feminists, they would stop singing all this strong, independent, rah-rah stuff if a World War III were to strike. Because people tend to act right when reality applies. Third element, the third thing that would need to happen is massive amounts of inflation. Now, with Coach Greg Adams, economic collapse and inflation are sort of like the same thing, more or less. But he mentioned that in his book. He can break it down better. The fourth thing would need to happen, a plague, right? A plague of some sort. Now, we've seen some sort of a plague happen. And when I'm talking about a plague, I'm not talking about the biblical plague of a swarm of locusts. It can be a plague of some sort, mass immigration. Something that happens in mass that just solely eats away and erodes the stability of the country. That would be mass immigration. We've seen some resemblance of that during 2020 with the sniffles, right? The flu, not the actual flu, but the other flu. You know which flu I'm talking about, right? So we've already seen remnants of that happening, but they stopped it because they realized that they can't continue with that because it's unconstitutional for the government to enforce health mandates. But most people didn't know that. Most people are average NPC normies who don't even know their own rights, which is why they allowed the government to tell them to stay at home and work from home. Just similar in Matrix pods. Your home served as a Matrix pod. You're not allowed to leave. The metaverse, people think, the metaverse is just yet another innovation in technology. No, it's applied to control you, average normies. Hemineggers, NPCs, knuckle-dragging mouth breathers, right? So that's the fourth thing that needs to happen, a massive plague of some sort, and we've already seen that happen. The fifth thing that would need to happen is a religious awakening. Now, the very typical example of a religious awakening is, Christ himself descending from the heavens to touch down on planet Earth for his second coming, right? Or if something were to happen that would cause most people to just have a rude awakening in terms of religion, they would go back to, the traditional morality way of living. Men provides, women stays at home, bears children, and we bring back our moral, religious high ground, which is unlikely to happen, especially in this day and age. Things are evidently becoming even worse and worse. People are becoming more and more dumber and more crazier. People are losing their minds. People are sick. People are canceling each other because it feels over reels. But yeah, those are the 5 elements that would need to happen in order for the matrix to be reset: economic collapse, a World War III, massive amounts of inflation, a plague, border crisis, corona, the flu from 2020, and a religious awakening. Now, here's an honorable mention. This one is a bonus comes from MrShowTym himself. The 6th element that would need to happen, it's currently been going on, but I say it needs to become stronger. The Manosphere should continue to hold the line and stand tall. We continue pushing out these messages because there's more. The normies, the blue pillars, they need us. They're starting to consume the red pill more and more often. The red pill is starting to become a little bit more mainstream. The Manosphere should continue to produce and push out messages out there, regardless of who they cancel or who they deplatform. They can deplatform Sneeko, they can cancel Andrew Tate, they can try to take out Kevin Samuels, and they can take out any one of us. Hold the line. The Red Pill Manosphere should continue holding the line. Now, I have a slight disagreement with Coach CGA, because he says, hey, gentlemen, arguing with feminists is not the way we need to go. It is not, because look what happened to Andrew Tate. Look what happened to Andrew Tate. And I have a slight disagreement because this is the purpose of the Manosphere in the first place, right? We are the rebellion. We are, in the Matrix, there's Zion, and then we have the outside world where the robots rule, the blue pill world. Listen, don't give in. They can cancel whoever. Continue pushing through. Power on. Okay? Hold the line. Because this is the purpose of the Manosphere to begin with. They can't cancel all of us together. Well, they can, but more red pillars are going to come, should continue to be produced. More red pill content creators should be continue to be produced and put out these messages. As it stands, I am the only red pill content creator in South Africa. I'm the only one here. Hence why you may see my channel doesn't have much growth, much push, much traction, because most South Africans, they only consume, dumb stuff. Soapies, drama shows, comedy, memes. That's all they consume. And then I come along and I produce this type of content. They're like, what's it? Psh, they're bored. Sad. But anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Massive amounts of credits to Coach Greg Adams. Manosphere, continue holding the line. Thanks for watching. Cheers.